A young boy named Derrin has gone missing in Ondra's gift. Otta's son, Derrin, has been missing for 2 days. She has to care for her hollow-born child at home, so she asked me to search for him. Otta last saw Derrin when he left with his father to go fishing at the docks. Perhaps I should speak with the sailors and fishermen in Ondra's gift. I found Derrin's father. He left the boy for a quick drink and lost track of him. He's too ashamed now to return home. It seems kind of late to be... Well, it's actually... it's so late it's early in the morning now. The sun's just peeking over the horizon. They're neither sailors. They're dressed too nicely to be the ruffians I'm after. I don't know who lives here. I guess we'll just have to find out. I have this key, so whatever this key unlocks has to do with the ruffians outside. Hello? A youngish elven man squints at me in surprise. You can't just barge into somebody's home like this. Who do you think you are? Who are you? The elf who lives here. Now get out! What now? He looks at me nervously. Oh, we'll just go. I don't know who he is, but... The knob on the underside suggests that the table was fashioned from a derelict door. The slightest pressure causes it to wobble atop barrels. It's a very poor home. Okay. Well, we'll go to the west then. Western end of the district. Keep an eye out for sailors and for a home that takes his key. Or any place inside of a home. So we have to keep searching. Hello. You look like you want to have a good time, honey, and I'm all open for business. Nice to see the sun coming. Interesting looking man with horns. Hello? As I near, you feel a vibrant history containing the man's essence. Voices from the past seem to call out to me. Reach out for the soul. You see a body on a bench, a team of mages and healers buzzing around the room, shouting instructions and incantations. A pulsating crystalline device lies in the body's chest cavity, steaming slightly in the magically cooled room. The healers stitch the skin as a priest murmurs healing charms. Finally, it's done. The body is whole again. The mages gather for a final enchantment as the others watch, a complicated ritual that has them sweating rivulets. A hush falls over the room as the body shudders, electricity arcing from side to side, eyes fluttering open. For a moment, he's there, but something is wrong. He goes to scream, and he's gone. The room is silent as they trail out, overcome, but something stays, not quite tangible, and shouts wordlessly as it sees its own body for the first time. What the heck was that about? Another justiciar. No, there's nothing here. It's a dead end. Let's go over this next bridge. Oh, these look like more thugs. What are you looking at? Hello? Shove off, we've got nothing to talk about. Well, they're not sailors. Oh, and the grappling hook. I'll take that. And wonder who lives here. Hello? Reach out for the soul. You see a young man contort, screaming, strapped to a wooden table. Above him, a machine crackles. Tiny strikes of lightning caressing his emaciated frame. A trio of mages chant around him, eyes white, hands lifted in benediction of their agonized victim. It goes on for more time than you could say before the screams stop, replaced by hoarse, stabbing sobs and silence. A silver-haired woman enters, kissing him on the forehead, motherly hands soothing, cajoling. He quiets, unable to speak for screaming, and waits for a death he'll never see. What is going on in this world?
Yeah.
Hello? Reach out for the soul. You see a dark, foreboding room, heavy with incense smoke. Two figures stand in the center of the room, performing some sort of ritual with slow, exact, deliberate motions. This man follows along with the actions of an older man, and it becomes obvious the older man is teaching the younger one how to perform the ritual. He calls out steps, corrects imperfections, and berates the young man when he missteps. Watching the younger man's motions, I note he seems to be intentionally making mistakes, but what he hopes to accomplish with this you can't discern. As the ritual continues, the master becomes more irritated with the young man. He walks over, leans in, and begins chastising him eye to eye. This appears to be what the young man was waiting for. The young man takes advantage of his master's distraction, dropping the censer he is holding. He locks eyes with the older man, completely focused on his target. A wisp of energy leaps from the younger eyes to the older, and the master stands up, eyes now milky white, rocking unsteadily on his feet. The young man never breaks his gaze on the older, slowly circling him, almost seeming disappointed. He stops, toe-to-toe, and looks disdainfully into the blank eyes. "Is that it?" he whispers, staring his master down like a snake. "How did I ever think you had anything to offer me?" He blinks and twists his head to the side, turning heel and striding from the room. Bright blue mist flows from the master's eyes and mouth, wrapping sinuous tendrils around his body. It slides across his arms, working its way to his abdomen down over his legs. The mist speeds up, moving faster as it circles the master's body, glowing brighter as it does. The speed increases until it no longer looks like mist, but a shimmering cocoon surrounding the old man's body. A faint humming buzz emanates from the mist, growing louder and more forceful by the second. The young man stops in the doorway, looking back at the older man, only a mild interest in his eyes. With a whoosh, the air around the master ignites, starting him on fire. The smell of his own burning flesh breaks him from his reverie, and a scream erupts from his lungs. The young man turns around again, unmoved, and walks away, leaving no one to hear his master's dying cry. Things you see in these. A dozen tiny somethings squirm within the pot of rice. Poor. I was never poor. Father was a farmer. We always ate well. The clothes were a little lacking, but we had a roof over our head. My foster father actually had a lot more money. He wasn't a noble, but...
Adair, you have said you fought in the Saints' War, but for which side?
The one that blew up my god.
I didn't mean anything by it. I imagine a man with a head made of fire and light could be very convincing.
Funny thing about Deerwoodens. With all that fire and light, they just treated him like another authority figure.
Yeah, my foster father's a merchant. They lived a comfortable life. Not so much me. It wasn't like I was really part of it. Let's see who lived. Oh, the key. Just open this up. This must be where the thugs live. That Maya, the proprietor of the brothel lives. I guess works. I guess we're in for a bit of a fight then, aren't we?
How do you do?
She wears a defiant expression with a sturdy yet battered suit of armor. She seems to bear each scratch and ding with pride. You don't look like one of the knights. Can I help you with something? Who are you? I'm Afrey, a lieutenant with the dozens. She taps her dented breastplate. We're the last fighting force in Defiance Bay that remembers what it means to be Deerwoodian, and unfortunately I'm the only one who seems to care about the way Maya's squeezing the locals. I'm here about the trouble at the Salty Mast. Ordinary kith are angry, as they should be with that crooked Omawa toadying up the nobles, she sneers. She's using the tragedy of Widewind's legacy to line her pockets. She is no better than the Derrin overlords we drove out 200 years ago. People around here say you've got a good heart. Maya's made it so only the rich can afford her establishment, yet she sits in the poorest district in Defiance Bay. How's that right? We've taken matters into our own hands, but she's the real criminal here. Why don't you tell her to back down? Maya might be making a fortune, but her employees aren't. You're hurting them even more. I hadn't thought of it that way. Her dull pauldron sag. Then I guess there is no point to this, is there? She looks at the thugs standing around her and finally nods. Tell Maya we'll leave her people alone. Okay. I guess this has nothing to do with Derrin? Somebody stashed a few sooty playing cards in the bed. Okay, let's leave. We need to go along the docks then. I'm more concerned about finding the boy than helping Maya. The dozens are behind this. Where do they think they are? They're like a... Kind of like a militia in a way. Taking everything into their own hands. Let's search along the dock then. No hiring builders, no experience needed. Hello.
Gods keep you.
As I approach, she eagerly turns to me. You're interested in doing some construction work? Her clothes are simple but nicer than most you've seen in Ondra's gift. Pays good money. Have you seen someone named Derrin? She taps her chin. The name doesn't ring a bell. If you find him, ask if he's interested in doing some construction. I take it you're having trouble finding workers? Workers who aren't superstitious cowards anyway. She shakes her head. I offer good coin, but as soon as I tell them about the job, they say an oath to the Lady of Lament and spit over the dock. They all think the lighthouse is haunted ever since the floods of Ondra's gift. Echoes of the war. The flood certainly claimed enough souls to pack a lighthouse full to bursting. Ondra's gift was flooded? Back at the end of the War of Defiance, it was one of the finishing blows to the Derrin military. Cost us a lot, though. The whole district was supposed to be evacuated, but not everyone left in time. The Adarians put anyone they found to the sword. The lucky ones who escaped the slaughter drowned hours later when Hadrit's forces broke the dams. Locals say the lighthouse keeper is one of the people who stay behind and one of the last to die. She shrugs. I don't know why that makes the lighthouse any more haunted than the rest of the gift, but there you have it. Have you gone inside? Who, me? She laughs nervously. Not exactly. See, my health is rather delicate and all that dust. She sighs. All right, when I saw two Almoa deckhands running as fast as they could down the pier, I lost my nerve too. I could take a look. Good. About time someone put an end to this foolishness. She rummages in her pocket and pulls out a skeleton key, and she hands it to me. She hesitates. Just be careful. Not that I believe the ghost stories, but it's an old building, so watch your step. I have some questions. Do you know what might be inside the lighthouse? If only, she shrugs. It's been uninhabited since they flooded Ondra's gift. Have you seen someone named I already asked that. What are you building? An inn, allegedly. She brushes a single loose strand of her bun behind her ear. The gift needs a spot with a little more class than the salty mast. The district has been in the dumps since the War of Defiance. It seems ready for some fresh development. So imagine my excitement when I find this place. 3 floors tall and right in the water, for sale at a reasonable price. The seller suggested that there were other interested buyers, so I closed the deal before I'd taken the time to really look into it. Stupid, she shakes her head. Being from New Haomar, I knew about the floods, but I didn't know about the superstitions surrounding the lighthouse, and the seller was long gone by the time I found out. At this point, it'll be a miracle from the Lady of Lament herself if I make my investment back. You're not from Defiance Bay, are you? She laughs bitterly. What gave it away? The accent, or the fact that I was the dupe who paid good coin for this place? I'm from New Haomar on the northern coast. It's smaller than Defiance Bay, so I came here hoping for some fresh opportunities and maybe the chance to do a little good in this neighborhood. Right, farewell. Another job. If not for coin, it would give me reputation. This looks like a sailor. Hello? Our ship's been dry for months. I could use a drink stiff to wake a dead man. These Ondra stones right along the side of the dock. Very, very odd. Captain will be happy to hear about this. Hello? This young lanky sailor is wringing his cap anxiously, sweat beading on his furrowed brow. His eyes widen as I approach, and he takes a few steps forward.
Gods keep you.
If you have a moment, you're not from around here, right? You don't look like you're from the docks. He looks around nervously. I could use your help. Oh, wait, first off, any chance you've seen a little boy named Derrin? Huh? Oh, sure, he wanted to play on the ship, but I couldn't let him. Fortenero is very strict about that sort of thing. I had to shoo him off. Felt a bit bad about it. Saw him heading towards the salty mast. Not really somewhere he ought to be playing. Hope you find him. Maybe I should ask Mayra. Alright, what's the problem? Oh, thank you. They weren't lying, saying you're a kind-hearted soul. He runs a hand through his hair nervously. It's the captain, or rather, not the captain himself, but his chest, his sea chest. He keeps all his valuables in there, tucked away safe. I was unloading it with the rest of the things, what with us staying in port a couple days, and... He coughs. I may have gotten a little distracted. Marceno nods towards the building nearby. I wasn't gone long, just an hour at the salty mast. When I got back here, the chest was gone. He sets a pleading look at me. It really hasn't been that long. Whoever took it can't be too far, but the shift's changed and I'm on watch. I can't sneak off to look for it, and the captain will kill me if he hears of it. I'll get strung up on the yardarm. Please, if you can get it back for me, I swear by the flame I'll make it worth your while. You can have my pay. I won't be spending it if Captain Fortenero finds out anyway. What makes you think I'm not from around here? Gut feeling, the sailor grins weakly. I really could use your help, though. So, you're a sailor? Yes, sir, I signed on about half a year back. The pay's decent, and the sight of the sun coming up over the sea, I wouldn't give that up for anything. He sighs. I just wish I'd asked around about the captain first. Any ideas where the thieves might have taken the chest? Well, the chest itself is pretty heavy. Nobody I've asked have seen it getting carried around either. I figure they must have snuck it off somewhere nearby, just out of sight. They can't have gone far. There's a pretty good lock on it, too, so I'm hoping they haven't got it open. Unless they take an axe to it, I suppose. Oh god, it takes a deep breath. If they got it open, I really am done for. I'll look for it. Boy, I need to find that, I'm sure this is part of a ship. I would think anyways, it's fully locked up. I don't even know if I can open that. Really good lock on it. I need to find this buoy. It's more important than anything else. I don't mind the extra work, but this is a bit urgent. Hello? Our ship's been dry for months. I could use a stiff drink to wake a dead man. Hello? It's always bittersweet sailing from home, but seeing exotic locations is a decent enough trade-off. Man, this Ondra over here. Okay, so this is the end. Let's go look over this way. We didn't miss anything out here. Yeah, we didn't go up to the lighthouse.
A dozen Derrin ships were shattered against these levees during the War of Defiance. Best to heed the astrologers, I find, where tides are concerned.
Place gets my blood beating in all the right places.
Derrin, I'm starting to look at you like you're a heathen. You're very hedonistic. Hello? Bittersweet. Sailing away from your home. I don't know. I think the lady that hired me for the lighthouse was over here, was she not? Hope those aren't bodies down there. No. Well, they say that the Hollowborn are just dumped unceremoniously into the water. Hello? With an assertive grin, the sailor turns his face to the horizon and the sea breeze. Hi. A touch of sophistication would do much good around here. They're valiant sailors.
God's damn that son of a cool.
The angry woman clenches her jaw and stares out towards the harbor with her glimmering golden eyes. Eventually, sensing my presence, she turns her feathered head towards me. Want to run down on this Luck Valiant Trading Company? If you have more than half a brain, you could really do something with it. She clenches her jaw and continues quietly. As long as you're willing to clean up a few bloodstains. What's going on exactly? Exactly? If I knew that, I'd be in a better mood. The only thing I know exactly is that Maester Verzano is determined to wind up in the grave before the season turns. The woman looks back at the warehouse for a moment and grimaces. After a slight nod in my direction, she storms off. Well, that was odd. Anyways, we need to find this. What company is this? The Valiant Trading Company. Interesting. Okay. Those don't look like sailors. They look like merchants. Well, have we not been up this way? Hello. Some payday this turned into. An old man paces the dock and looks out over the water. He's fussing over something large and round, which he constantly shifts from one hand to the other. You're not certain whether his wide-eyed, gap-mouthed expression marks surprise or fear. It seems he isn't either. You, don't look like a guard. He examines me. And your equipment. And my equipment more closely. Say, you wouldn't be interested in making some coppers, would you? He shows me the object in his hand. It's a large round opal with Ingwithan runes carved into it. It glistens with his sweat. See the ship that went down over there? I've been looking for someone to help me recover some missing cargo. Alright, first of all, have you seen a boy named Derrin around here? I see him near every time I'm at port. He nods at the half-sunken boat. He's the one who found the opal. Good kid, despite that loafer of a father. Loafer? A scowl crosses his leathery face. Drunk more often than sober, and poor company either way. He spends his scant coin at the salty mass when he's got mouths to feed, and yet he thinks his hollow-born daughter is the curse in his family. Any idea where Derrin could be now? He frowns. That boy loves the ships. He's probably playing pirates with the sailors, if he hasn't stowed away with the cargo. Thank you for the information. You see that lad? You tell him old Imatel remembers the deal. I owe him a basket of mussels for finding that opal. Anything else you need? Imatel doesn't sound like a Derwoodian name. That's because it isn't. I'm from the Ixmatil Plains, a broad savanna north of the Deerwood. Not so different from the ocean in a way. There are places where you can stand and turn a full circle and see nothing but the winds making waves in the grass. He watches the surf lapping against the wrecked boat. But at moments like this, I wonder what business a plainsman like me had taken to the water. Well, how's business? He spits into the water. I'll be glad to sail with captains who are more careful about their cargo from now on. I don't give a worm's wings about the Duke's trafficking laws, but I'm too old to fight ancient horrors. Takes a deep breath of the salty air. I just want to enjoy my twilight years doing an honest day's work. Have you seen anyone coming this way with a large chest? Come to think of it, I did. He points to the east. They went that way. Couldn't have gotten too far. Tell me more about this missing cargo. He licks his lips. We started in cold morn, and we were making our way down the river, loading and unloading as we went. Business as usual. What exactly happened? He massages the opal in a clammy palm. When we reached Ina's Rest, we may have agreed to take on a few crates from some place called Cleabian Releg. A couple of the lads snuck a peek at the cargo, saw suits of armor and a broken scepter. He shrugs. Don't know why anyone would want a broken anything, but these animasters will buy dirty stockings if you say they came from the ruins. He closes his hand around the opal in a white-knuckled grip. We were almost to Defiance Bay when the screaming started. I've seen my share of barroom brawls, but this sounded different. I was topside with the captain, but he and first mate went below decks to see what all the commotion was about. When they didn't come back, I looked into the hold. He shudders. I saw one of those suits of armor walking around all by itself. It was covered in blood. When it saw me, it started running for the hatch, so I closed it. He squeezed his eyes shut. So, how did the ship get here? He rolls the stone between his hands. I'm just a deckhand, but I was the only one left. I piloted the ship as best I could, but I hit rocks as we were passing Brackenbury. I barely made it to Ondra's gift before I had to jump overboard and swim for the docks. I'd given up on the cargo, not to mention the payday, when one of the lads pulled this up in his nets. He shows me the opal again. It's part of that scepter, from what I recall. There were 3 other pieces, and I'd bet you anything they're somewhere in the shallows too. If anyone can find them, there'll be profit to follow. There must be a reason why you haven't gone looking for the rest of the artifacts yourself. I'm lucky to have escaped the ship like I did. I'm not taking a chance with those things. Have you talked to the Crucible Knights about this? And admit that I was smuggling relics? He shakes his head. I doubt they'd arrest me, but I also doubt I'd see any coin from this mess. What happens if I find the rest? You find the missing pieces of the artifact, and I've got an animaster friend from my expedition days who will find you a stack of coppers. He scratches his beard. All I want out of this is a few £100 for my lost payday. If that sounds fair to you, I'll give you this stone and the name of my contact once you have everything else. Imatil regards the opal again. Seeing as the kid dredged the stone up in his net, I'd wager you could probably find the missing pieces out in the shallows during low tide. About that Ingwithan relic. Yes? Do you have any idea what your animaster friend wants with this relic? She was always tinkering with these things back when we were young. I used to think that she was the fool, retiring some dusty study in Brackenbury. But after the horror on the boat, I'm thinking she made the wiser choice. Oh, okay. Well, what do you know about Ondra's gift? He scratches his stun-burned scalp. We've got docks, fishing, and steady ship traffic. All this, he waves at the listing shanties crowded against one another. This sprang up around the docks as the poorest district in Defiance Bay, but one of the liveliest. He grins, and for lively, nothing beats the salty mask. You'd do better to ask a younger man than me if you want to know about that place. He nods towards a large round building to the east. Alright. Farewell. Another job. That's 3 more. And still no sign of Derrin. But there's another dock on the other side. I'm gonna have to go find him.